Afternoon, everyone. Let me just give folks a couple more minutes to connect in. All right. So if you're here, you have received the same message I have. Please do make sure that you are connected via a secure device. As you know, this is all classified information. If you're here, you've been selected as part of this cell to analyze the box. As you know, a box was received, and it has been confirmed to be of extraterrestrial origins. It's not completely clear whether this is just as it is described, a game, or if it is indeed a harbinger of something more dangerous. This cell has been selected to operate in isolation. The discussions that we have are not to be shared outside of this group. I'm going to open the box now. I don't believe any of the rest of you have received your own boxes, but we will coordinate over this uplink. City of Six Moons. You have all no doubt received the briefing, so you know that we have got the same parts that all of the other cells have received. And the same instruction manual. And we do have a note from the original person who received the original box. So we will read it together. As much as possible, I tried to present the City of Six Moons as it was presented to me, and as it has been played for thousands of years. I have not provided any interpretation of the rules or rebalanced any of the cards, even in cases where I think the design might be improved. For example, I'm still not sure why the rival civilizations track token accumulation separately. Why the rival civilizations track token accumulation separately. When I asked about this, they seemed quite upset, so I left it alone. That said, there are unavoidable physical differences. The board should be made of thick, transparent glass with the token pools etched into it. Our canvas play mat is a poor approximation indeed. However, I was led to understand, it being a traditional game, that there is some variation in board materials, so perhaps this downgrade is excusable. Less excusable, perhaps, are the wooden discs. It should be played with delicate, translucent shells, roughly the shape depicted on the cards and in the rulebook. These are concave on the bottom, allowing one to stack atop another. These are the shells of some kind of small animal and come in a variety of colors and patterns. When stacked together, the melding of colors can be quite striking. It is not uncommon to gently wave a light over the game while it is being played. As the light hits the shells, the colors bloom in brilliant auroras. I do not think I will ever see something as beautiful again. I briefly considered using glass stones, but they of course wouldn't stack and wouldn't fit comfortably on the board. More than that, it felt wrong somehow, like some kind of pathetic, cruel parody, like I was defiling something sacred. Wooden discs are so obviously not the thing, so as not to trespass. I considered changing the symbol on the cards and in the rules so as to match the disc, but every time I tried, I was overcome with emotion. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I apologize for any confusion this might cause. So there you have it. This purports to be a game from an alien civilization, and its origin has been confirmed, the first known of its kind. This may be simply a harmless game from an ancient alien civilization that means us no harm, or it may be a test of some sort. A test of our ability to decode it, a test of our ability to understand their culture, or perhaps a test of how we are to be dealt with. Some believe that our explanation of the rules will determine whether our civilization will be left alone, welcomed into this one, or destroyed as a risk to their culture. It will be our job to try to understand this. Let's start by looking at what we've got. Please do feel free to chime in. You've all been selected because of your various expertise, so don't be shy. So here are the wood tokens. 2 red, 2 blue large pawns, and then many circular small discs, all identical. I suppose the first thing we should do is catalog everything. I have created a notes document for us to share our collective thoughts, but please do create your own. Ten, 20, 30, 40, 48 discs. 48 discs, that's an odd grouping. Perhaps we'll go to 6 groups of 8. Okay, 6 groups of 8. And then this is the board. Told it used to be a glass board. Now we've got a piece of canvas, black and white. And then, of course, we have cards. Double-sided. These look like they're of one type, although they are unique. However, it looks like perhaps the same symbols, but permuted differently. Always red on the left, blue on the right. looks like the outers are always the same, almost like a suit. There's one of the outers is in the center. So in this case, it's this one. In this case, it's this one, or this one. Okay, so we have 4 cards, always showing the same 4 symbols, but with a one for each of the outer symbols in the center. On the other side, what do we have? Very similar. However, 2 of them have this thing in the middle. 2 of them have this in the middle. 2 of them have this big N on the left, and 2 of them have this small cube on the left. Looks like the right-hand side is identical, and top is identical. Let's see what we have here. These appear to be all of one basic type. They have different color semicircles. Do they? No, there's just red on the left, blue on the back. Okay, let's take a look at these cards. We've got blue top. Of course, we don't know what's up and what's down. Okay, so we've got 4 groups of cards, 6 in each group, 6 with 4 blue, 6 blue with 4 on the top, 6 red with 4 on the top, 6 blue with 2 on the top, 6 red with 2 on the top, and this one little off blue, although I understand that may not be significant. The bottoms of these cards, maybe we'll group these like this. The bottoms of these cards look similar. We'll have to start assigning names to these things at some point, but this little house is on 3. Are these all have the same bottom? No, they don't. They're different at the bottom. They're the same at the top. The blues all have a blue semicircle at the bottom. The reds all have a red semicircle at the bottom left. Blue bottom right, red bottom left. Same thing here. All right, let's take a look at the other side of these. Again, red semicircle on the bottom left of all of these cards. Same divider into 3 horizontal sections. These are all have a blue at the top, yellow, black, red, yellow, black. On the other side of the reds, we have red, white, black. Here again, cards with 4 have 3 on the other side. The cards with 2 have 1 on the other side, so it's almost like 1 less. Let's see if the pattern holds up here. Yes. Okay, so again, consistent blue circle at the bottom right, blue circle at the bottom right. Same division into 3 groups, 1 less on the flip side, which is front and back, we can't say. Same thing here. Okay. So that's our cards. What this means, unclear. However, I can see that the middle part is not shared between the blue and the red. Let's see about the red. Okay, so they look unique, like even whether it's the reds or the blues, the patterns are not repeating in the yellow part. These all look fairly unique constellations. Now, before we go into the rule book, we do have one sort of clue, I suppose. City of 6 Moons. Now, I would read that as city and moons. So I think we may be dealing with a language that reads right to left. City of 6 moons. Again, city of, well, I don't know. If this is 6, then here's a different way of writing it. Here we've got this number on the far left. I wonder if that suggests that it's right to left, bottom to top. I guess there's more text on the back of this box that we should read. As near as I can tell, this is an alien civilization building game for a single player. There only seems to be components and rules for one player, and when I asked them about it, they seemed perplexed. I watched them play it once before they returned into the black, and only one of them moved the pieces, doing so silently while the others chattered. Whether they were playing the game cooperatively or whether they were merely commentating, I can't say. I chose to translate the title as City of 6 Moons, though this is at best a clumsy approximation. This glyph is probably closer to city-state, but that feels clunky in the mouth. It also means laws or rules. It also means culture and measure. It also means story or legend. It might mean game, but that's conjecture on my part based on a few of the above meanings. I chose the meaning that embodies the physical space, both because of the shape of the glyph and to frame it as a civ game. This probably means 6, as it's nearly identical to the glyph for that number. Nearly identical to the glyph for that number. But those 2 tiny extra dots are bothersome. Perhaps it's just a stylistic quirk. I don't think it represents a different number. I've seen their glyph for 60, and that's not a significant number for them anyway. The only other place I've seen this particular version of the 6 glyph was on some of the other boxes they brought with them, so it's possible that it also means game. I'm sure this is moon, but I'm also not sure what is meant by moon. The glyph is also used to denote a passage of time. I'd assume that it correlates to a month, but if so, the match I observed ran for 36 moons, not 6. Perhaps it's a reference to 6 literal moons. Perhaps each unit of time is the alignment of 6 moons. Moons might also refer to smaller satellite polities brought into the city's orbit by conquest or trade. When I watched the game being played, it concluded abruptly and was scored when the 6th disc was claimed. I could not find any reference to this game end condition in the rules. I'll confess it doesn't make sense to me from a game design perspective. It wouldn't allow you to maximize your score, and so would disincentivize you from expansion. Perhaps it's a folk rule of some sort or some cultural assumption that I can't comprehend. It concluded abruptly, was scored when the 6th disc was claimed. All right. All right, let's start with what we can guess. This looks like page number. There's 1. There's 2. Notice right to left. It's always on the right side of the page. They don't alternate like we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then here, as we were told, the glyph for 6, which this author points out, is very close to what we see here, but not exactly. And then here looks like 7. They've added another triangle, and that's it. So we do have numbers that we can read from 1 to 7, and you can sort of guess that 8 would be more triangles up. So if this is the glyph for 6, if we look at these cards, we can see they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all of these cards look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they all go from 1 to 6 here on the right hand side of the reds or the left hand side of the blues. On this card, what do we have? Not so clean and simple. We have what looks like a small city compared to this, what is being referred to as a city or a city-state. So what's missing from these? The bottom. These are the 2 top pieces. Okay. We have 28 cards in total. 24 of these standard cards, 4 of the black. We're going to have to start giving things names as we talk about them. We'll call these the black cards. We'll call these the colored cards. So I can see in this diagram, which is probably a setup page, right, that it's talking about the cards being with their white side face up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. That sounds like exactly half of our 24. Where are the other 12? Not clear, but some of them seem to be in a stack here. You might imagine this is saying to randomize. I'm not sure. They're not alternating red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, blue. This could, of course, just be saying here's a sample random set. They all are on white facing up, though. All right. Then we've got the black cards. We've got 2 face down, we'll call it. And then this one face up. And this little diagram seems to be zooming in, right? It seems to be suggesting that we take one of these cards. It looks like it's this one. This one has red at the top. This one has blue at the top. These don't match. So this is this card. It seems to be suggesting that we put a blue pawn on and a red pawn on. And then what does it want here? It seems like it might be suggesting that we should put 6 discs on this spot. This seems to be the symbol for disc that our author was writing about, how they don't quite match the wood pieces. Okay, now the blue goes on this. This looks like the symbol for blue pawn, the symbol for red pawn. But what's happening here? Is this the symbol for the stack of discs? 6 discs. So maybe this is the symbol for disc. And in fact, I can see that this is not right side up. This is right side up. And this is our disc symbol. Same symbol that we see here. Let me put 6 discs here. Okay, now what is this trying to say? It seems to be talking about the face down cards. We know that these are unique. However, this card is the back of this card. This card here is the back of this card. And then this card here This is this card, but what are we supposed to do with this, which is the back of this? Let me just confirm that. Yes. So if we were initially to lay this out like it's shown here, we would have this. But would we have to flip it? Do you think we're supposed to be reading it this way? From bottom to top. Let's try that for a second. So I'm wondering if this isn't saying like flip this to become this, in which case do this. So let's start at the bottom here. This is our disk symbol. It seems to be saying put 3 disks here. For what reason? Just because of the setup? And then maybe it wants 2 disks here, 2 disks here, 2 disks here, 1 disk here. Here or here, not clear. And blue and red here. This looks like 6 disks. So we want to start keeping notes at some point. This looks like 6 disks. And I wonder then if this symbol doesn't mean all the rest. This is either a number or it means all the rest. Now, what's this little sidebar? This is a very odd thing because we don't have an object for this. And it's got a black dot. It's not double-sided. 1 disk here, it seems. Okay. I don't know what these are about. But if then we go from bottom right up, it shows these 2 cards here. Seems to say put a disk here. Or put, I don't know what this symbol is. And then it's saying if we zoom into this, 4 maybe causes this to flip, in which case we do this. And then there's this. Which shows, actually, looking at these cards here, I can see that these cards are the ones. Let me see if there's 12 ones. Yes, there's 4. Or 6, sorry. 6. There's 12 one city cards. Looks like they're all laid up at the top. The fact that there's some double reds and double blues makes me think that this is saying to shuffle these. I think it is saying shuffle. I can't see any logic. And I wonder if this doesn't mean shuffle. And then the threes seem to be in a deck below. So like the threes here, and then the one city cards here laid out. I'm not going to lay them all out for now. Let's just get the basic idea of it. Then I wonder if this isn't saying shuffle all four of the black cards. These all have pawns on them? Yes. Okay, so it might be saying shuffle these four cards. I'm reading that as the shuffle. That blue circle, can you see that? I wonder if this, which is a red circle and a blue circle, a little hard to see, is how they're referring to what we're calling the black cards. So I wonder if it's not saying take these cards, shuffle them, turn one over, red, and fill it. Red, blue, and then put 6 here, which is exactly what it says to do. So we're following the instructions on the right. Still don't know what this is about. And I still think that this is likely to be saying put all the rest of them here. Now, do we see this symbol anywhere else? No, but we do see this half and half symbol, and we see this symbol. Let me put these here for now. All right. Let's move on here. Maybe rather than try to solve one page at a time, we should try to get a sort of gestalt impression of everything. Let me put these here. I think we need like a little tray for these. All right, what have we got here? So if we're keeping track of symbols, we've got perhaps the symbol for the city striped cards, and then the symbol for the black cards, perhaps the symbol for shuffle, perhaps the symbol for place, or the symbol for just look here. This is what it means. Seems like it might mean place though. All right, now what have we got here? Something completely different. We have orange circle lines and symbols here. What do you suppose they're trying to say? Some sort of movement from here to here, from here to here. Not really clear. And we don't know what these symbols are. And then it actually looks like this. this is a blow up of this. This blows up to this. And this blows up to this. Okay, let's do our bottom up. Bottom up, right, left. Page 2. We've got a grid of cards here. Perhaps with discs. We're looking at a sample city card. Let's find that city card. Here it is here. This card is this card. What is it saying? There's some interaction with this. One with a vertical circle, a vertical moon, vertical line moon. And then this symbol here is a 2 with a pure circle. Four. Okay. I think these are telling us 4 ways we can use this card. I think it's saying the first way you can use it is to generate this. The second way you can use it is to generate this. The third way you can use it is to put it in this grid. The fourth way you can use it is for its circle down here. Here are these symbols here. Plane circle, vertical signal, circle. These are not quite matching those. What is this saying? This grid has got these rules. Okay, let's keep going here. Red and blue pawns, and then there's this symbol again, which is this symbol, which feels like it's these black cards, but this is a different symbol than this. But this is this symbol. It's now over here. Okay, well, here is our grid. Here. It's almost a grid. Bottom to top, let's see. So this seems to be a discussion of how to manipulate this grid here. You can see there's spots, 4 spots here. You put, it looks like maybe you're indicating a row by putting something here. Indicate this row by putting something here. Indicate this column by here and this column by here. But you don't have a way to indicate this row or this column. So let's see what happens. You put a red on this row, and look what's happening. you're selecting the red cards in that row, right? This one is grayed out. So you put your red pawn here and you're selecting the 2 red cards. You're activating them. And this is how you trigger the internal parts of the card. So look, over here, step 1 was to activate this. Step 2 was to activate this. Step 3 was to activate maybe this side of it. Step 4 was to activate this. But here we can see step 1 is to activate the middle. Step 2 is to activate the bottom central. Step 3 is to activate this corner. So I guess this 3 is to put it in the grid, is what it is. Okay, so look. You can either activate this. I think you're picking one action, not doing all of them, but either way. You can trigger this first action, this second action, or the third action, which is to move it into this grid. And I think this is showing you how you move it in. You can either, there it is, you can either move it in here, here, or here, depending on this symbol. Which should be somewhere. I think it might be the center. Let's see. If you look at the center, what did I say it was? This upper left here. Not, oh, all the red, no. Okay. All right, let's put that aside for a second. So action 1 is this. Action 2 is this. Action 3 is to move it into this grid. If you put a pawn on this row, you trigger all the a red pawn on this row triggers all the reds in this row. When they trigger, the first thing or the first choice is to trigger the center. The second choice is to trigger this bottom center. And the third choice is to do what it says in this upper right corner. When you do that, it looks like you do 3 of these, 3 of this, whatever this is. Maybe that's activate. Like activate a red or blue, or choose a red or blue. Choose a pawn. Choose 3 discs. What's happening here? So this is somehow triggering this. And what is this? Is this flipping this card over? No, it's not the flip of this. It is interesting that this is a yellow and this is yellow. And look, it's the yellow V. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I wonder if, so this was this card, and then they're showing what if this card was triggered in this row. Which card is this? This one. So you trigger the red cards in this row. Here is this card being triggered. And it seems like it's saying if you trigger this, 3 something, and then this symbol, which is over here. So I wonder if it's saying something like grab from this area. Like, I wonder if this is saying what area you have to take discs from. And then does this card turn into this card? That's my question. Yes, it sure does. Okay. So this isn't flip, because clearly this isn't flip, but look what it's doing. You're triggering the yellow, and notice this color yellow matches this color. So you're upgrading this card is what you're doing. I think you're paying you may be paying 3 discs from this pile, which is shown here, maybe, to flip this card, and here it is showing that you flip it. But now, what this means, I don't know. It seems to be saying maybe action 2. Action 1 is this, action 2 is this, action 3 is to flip it. Maybe this is saying you pay. This could be saying you pay 1, but this seems like it's choose. So maybe step 3. I'm not sure, but this is clearly flipping this card. All right, now let's look down here. Okay, so I've triggered this row with the red, so I've triggered all the reds. That's the example. But here's other things you can do. You could put a red pawn here. You could put a red pawn here. Why do we have a black pawn? What is that trying to tell us? We have no black pawns. Maybe it's just generically saying put a pawn on a circle. Why is it showing us? Why is it showing us these things? This feels like it's saying trigger this. This is clearly saying trigger the red cards when you put on a red row. And this seems to be suggesting here are your options. But I don't know why. So the grid is the same in all these cases. It may be saying you can only go when you have majority, right? So it seems like the red could go here or the red can go here, but it doesn't seem to want the red to go here, maybe because that's majority blue. I'm not quite sure. Let's move on here. I think this is saying what we can put on top of things. I think this might be saying that we can put a red on an empty space, a red on a red, or if we do, or maybe this is saying you can't do this. Yes, that's what it's saying. That's exactly what it's saying. It's saying you can't put a pawn on another pawn. You can't put a red on a blue. I think that's what that is, a can't. You are not allowed to put a pawn on a pawn. You are not allowed to put a different color on top of a different color. I think that might mean choose. Choose and either or is the same thing. I think this might be saying you can choose to play a card or move a pawn. So choose to play a card or choose to move a pawn. Choose a red or a blue pawn. You can't put a pawn on top of another pawn. You can't, when you play a card, put a color on top of a different color. That feels right to me. Well, this I don't understand yet. Okay, let's move on. I guess we're getting some confirmation from the group here that this probably means allowed. If this means not allowed, then it makes sense to that this would mean is legal. Is legal, or now do this, or for one action do this. Okay. Feeling pretty good so far. All right, now it gets more complicated. All right, what have we got here on this page? It looks like these are separate steps. Let's see. So it's referring to part of the board, part of this stuff, it seems like. Let's see. What is this path looking like? As an action, you can choose a red or a blue. Don't know. Don't know. This horizontal line circle, where do we see that? Here we see a vertical line circle. Here is a solid circle. Here is our vertical circle. Does that mean flip? Choose. As action 3, you can choose to flip. Is that what that means? Oh, that's our vertical one, though. That I'm thinking this might tell you where you have to pay from, but is this the first time we're seeing the horizontal line circle? We haven't seen that elsewhere. I don't see it anywhere else, the horizontal lines. There's our moons. Okay, let's see. Bottom to top. This symbol we've seen before. That might be our, well, we think this might be shuffle. Shuffle or draw. We've got the symbols twice here, though. This might be saying draw 3. Shuffle 3, draw 3. And how are we reading this double path? Like, what is this path actually telling us about? Like, do this, then do this. Is it a flow chart? Start here, right to left. This is our stack of discs. This is a pawn. This is what's on our board. So this is on one half of our board. This is here. It's this one and this one. And this is here. It's this one and this one. And there's some suggestion that there's some rotation through. All right, let's just try to get a gestalt impression of all this. This is something to do with shuffling and or dealing. Pawn. Stack of discs. All right, and it's all connected. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And here we have our choose. I'm not sure. This page 4 has me a bit mystified. Let's keep going here. Page 5, what have we got here? It seems to be discussing what happens if you have 2 discs on this symbol, 3 discs on this symbol. Here's our city 6, city 7. I wonder if these aren't numbers. I wonder if this isn't the number 12. I wonder if this symbol isn't the number 12. Shuffle 12 city cards. And if this isn't saying 12 city cards, and then I wonder if this isn't a number. I wonder if that might not be, like here's 6, 7, 12, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here's 12 again. 12 red, 9 blue. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's not 12. I thought it was going to be 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. No, okay. So is it possible that this is like, is it we know what 5 looks like. 5 looks like this. So this shouldn't be 10 or anything. All right. Let's just keep going here. We've got these symbols, and this is a close-up of this one, meaning disk. This seems to be saying, hey, this section here is about these cities and how they work. What about this? This is our black card. And what are they doing here? They're putting a black card down here. Is it saying that when you remove the pawns from the card and the tokens that you initialize on this card, remember we were told to to start out initializing this with 6. That was the setup, right? Setup said put 6 on that spot, which we did. I wonder if this is saying here's a full card, and when you've emptied it, you can stick it down here. I wonder then if this doesn't mean remove. What was the symbol for place? Is this consistent with remove? Step 2, remove. And I thought that might mean flip. I mean, I thought here we were given a flip. Not really, though. Maybe that means flip. Is this remove? Is that consistent anywhere else with the symbol of remove? Do we see any more removes? All right. That's my working hypothesis, that this is saying we've gone from a full card to an empty card, then it goes in that grid. Still don't know what this is about. This seems to be talking about what the city cards or symbol does, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, what have we got here? 6, 12. What's this? Is that our 12 that I think it is? There's our 12 again. Shuffle the 12 cards. And I think it's 12. So I think that's 12. 6, 12. This could mean 24. This and this Is that like a times 2? One circle is times 2. That gives us 12 for 2 circles. And then times 2 again might be 24. I guess we should be reading bottom up here. All right, what's going on here? Hmm. So these diagrams look like the diagrams on our 3 level cards. Let's see if we can find one that matches that. I mean, there's something similar, but not exact. Same thing here, similar, but not exact. So is it telling us how to read these cards? Well, these are these 2 cards. What is it saying? Put a disc on here. It's already got a disc on here. Are these showing what's on the other side? No. Maybe we should go bottom to top. Something about putting a disc here. This might be the complete the red and blue. Something's happening. Here we're putting a disc on the grid. Okay, I think these might be like, this is what happens if this triggers, this triggers, this triggers, this symbol triggers, this symbol triggers, or this symbol triggers. Let me see, how would we do that? Like, sometimes we have this in the center. Sometimes we have this in the center. Are these the blue cards only that are like this? Are they the 3? Sometimes we have this in the center. There's this in the center. So it seems to me that these are cataloging the various things in the center. What about this one? Do we have any example of that in the center of a card? That's the only one I don't see at the center of any card. That seems to be talking about, what about on this side? Yes, okay, it's on this side. On the yellow side, we have this. Okay, so these are all matching things on our Triple City cards. I think this is telling us how to use these cards. Okay, so look. This, okay, here's what it's saying. We've got these cards. It's talking about these cards. And it's saying, okay, this is how to use the bottom row. Sometimes they have cities. Sometimes they have one disc. Sometimes they have this card here. And that's the yellow sides of these cards. All right, so this, and here's one with two discs. All right, so this is telling us how to use the yellow side of the city cards. I think what we've got here is a game with cards that can be used in multiple ways. And then the center stuff, which looks like it's matching the white halves of these cards, looks like it falls into a bunch of different types. There's what happens in the very center. So you can see here's an example of a hollow center. And here's an example of a circle-filled center. This I have no idea. There's a hollow. There's this in the center. And then some of them have this on the yellow side. But isn't it also here? Yeah, whatever is here is here. Is that right? There's a V. No. Okay, various ways to use the city cards. You can use this way. So if you get this, you're allowed to put a disc on a face down black card. If you get this, seems like you get to put a disc on a face down black card and okay, look what's happening. If you get this, you put a disc on maybe any place you want. If you get this, first you place this disc, which might be what this means. Place this disc. There, that's what it's like. This says put a disc on any of these symbols on a face down black card. This says put a disc on any of the face down black cards, and now put a disc on the board wherever there's discs on this card. So you can see in this case, they've added a disc here. Now there's a disc on the face and a disc on the V. So therefore, they can put a disc on the V and a disc on the face. If there's something in the center, you directly go and put 3 right on that space on the board. So whatever symbol's in the center, you get to put 3 straight onto that space on the board. So this is a way, all 3 of these actions are ways to get disks, to migrate disks onto the board. You can stuff them here and then you trigger it and you fire it off. It's like an engine builder. You're building these engines of these 5 symbols, and then you're triggering them to move them. I don't know if you're moving. I don't think you're moving. You're just adding to these spaces like an engine builder. And here, you're triggering this right away. Now, it is interesting that they seem to be coming from different places. Look. When you do this, it seems to be coming from here. But when you do these 2, it's coming from here. That's what it's saying. When you place from here. And this, you place from here. And if you do this action, you place from here. If you trigger this center here, so these are all triggering from here. If you trigger one of these, you put a disc from here onto one of the cards. Now, what is this part saying? You play this, you do this, and you do this, which we don't really know what this is. All right, we'll figure that out in a minute. If you place a card with this symbol, place a card with this symbol, you choose either I don't know what you do. I wonder if this isn't a pair. I wonder if it's not saying take a pair of these that form a full circle. But I don't know what it's trying to say to do with them, or what the conditions are. Then if you play this symbol, something happens. This seems to be talking about, I'm not sure. Did we figure out what this means? This was how to use this bottom row of the card in ways I'm not quite sure I understand. Although it does feel more and more like we're dealing with engine building. Well, that's the full set of rules. That's all the pages of the rules. All right, let me check in with the chat. I mean, you're talking to each other because I can't. I'm not going to be able to read up. Let's just start with the bottom here. So does anyone have any thoughts on stuff that I didn't suggest or talk about? We may want to start making a document. Okay, now we know the rules. Let's play the game. We may want to start making a document. There'll be discussion in the Discord if you want to jump on the Co-op for Two Discord. If you've been working on this on your own, now that we've had our first session, you could jump right in and share your thoughts. We might want to make a list of all the symbols we think we understand here. We think we've got numbers, including the number 12. And probably one of these means shuffle or draw. And this is the symbol for the black cards. This is the symbol for the city card. This is the setup for the board. Now let's return a little bit more. I think we have a reasonable guess about what's going on here. Not sure what this is about, but okay, now, what's this? Any theories? What's this? So it's initializing the board. 6 discs here. There's a number for 100% sure. Now that's a number. We've been hypothesizing that that double circle is a number. It either means all the remaining or it means a specific number, which we should be able to calculate what the remaining are. We did 2, 2, 3, 2, 1. We actually set that up. And we did 6 here. And we did 6 on this initial card. There's actually 7 there. And then it looks like maybe we were supposed to put 1 on this card, but it's confusing because this one flips. I wonder if that's what's happened. I wonder if they've paid to flip this. Shuffle the 4 cards, flip 1 over. That's what I think. So I don't know what's happening here, but okay, if we put 1 here on this, I don't really understand this, but I think this might mean remaining. But if it doesn't mean remaining, it's however many tokens we have here. 25 or 26. Okay, so either that's a strict number or that means remaining. We could try to find it. That might suggest that these are numbers also. Look, there's our number again. These might tell us how many of each card we have. But okay, we're initializing these, and we've seen this is where where discs start coming from. What is this? What is going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got two faces, two grains, a V, and a tree. What is that trying to say? Like, what is this? We don't have a structure for this. We don't have a place to put this aside. Like, we don't have this. Why are there two faces, two stalks, and one V and one tree? And why is there a disc on this? Any theories about this? It's got a black circle. It matches the symbols on the board, and it matches the symbols on the back of these cards. But I don't know if it's some device. Let's see. Except for the inverted V, they match the number of discs on each symbol. 1 on this, 2 on this, 2 on this. I think that's exactly right, except there's nothing for this one. Okay, maybe this isn't on this. Maybe this is just saying, hey, these are how you initialize the discs. 1 on the tree, 1 on the V, 1, 2 on the grain, 1, 2 on the faces. Or one, 2, 4. Yeah, maybe this is just saying, hey, this is how you decide to initialize, but then this is totally redundant with this. Why? That's an odd thing to do. But I think you make a good point that this matches this. Oh, except for the V. Except for the V, so it doesn't quite work. That's awfully strange. Awfully strange. All right. Is it an example position or the starting setup seems weird? Varying number of discs on each symbol in the illustration. Symbol in the middle does not appear on the cards. Don't know what that means. There's an extra disc on the V on the left bar that would make it match the 2 on the other location. Don't know what that means. But I do, maybe you're saying this, which is pretty appealing. On this thing, we don't know what this means. And is it saying V here? And that's why we have a V here. Well, why is this one important? Or is it saying grab all of these? What if we grab all of these from the edge? No, because then we would have two woods. Like, what if this is saying choose one of these, which we've chosen here. Choose one of these, put a disc on it. I'm not sure. We don't think that means choose, do we? No, I've forgotten. All right, doesn't count the symbols around the circle in the middle. I don't know what circle in what middle you're talking about. And certainly this doesn't match this. Here we have two sticks around the center, but we've only got one stick here. So it could just be that this particular place is what you put here, but what is this? Rob says, I think the black bar on the left is the starting number of discs for each symbol. They have played an extra disc on the V. Okay, that makes no sense. When you say they have played an extra disc on the V, I don't know what that means. Let's move on. Next page. I'm just going to recap what we know, and then we're going to break. We've been playing for almost 2 hours. That's fine. We can discuss it in the Discord, the rest. All right. So just recapping. Maybe that's the best use of our time here. We think this is shuffling 12 city cards, shuffle them white face up. This seems to be something about shuffling these cards, these 4 black cards, or what they call the semicircle cards. It looks like we're turning one over and initializing it on the right. This is the setup of the board. We think we understand everything here, including our 2 supply sections. This is either all remaining or a specific number. The part we don't understand is where this is coming from and what this means here. This seems like it's almost saying choose one of the symbols and put a thing on it here, but it doesn't really make sense because every card has all 5 symbols, all 4 symbols. So I don't know why you'd have to combine these 2 cards. So that's not quite clear if it means this specific locations card, and we don't know what this means. All right, now, next page. What do we know here? We don't really understand what's happening here. We don't really understand this. They seem to be phases of movement. We don't really know why it's saying, maybe it's saying you can go from here to here. But why is there no, like, where has this line gone? Where has this line gone? I don't really understand that. You might imagine that these are some symbols suggesting it may be teaching us that a symbol refers to movement between areas. I don't think we really understand it here. And then what seems like we have here is something telling us about our options, something like we can play a card or we can place a pawn. This seems like the choose. And then this is what happens if you choose to play a card. And this is what happens if you choose to place a pawn. The pawn stuff, I feel like we have a pretty good handle on. You can put it on a row or a column, and you trigger the cards matching that color. And when you trigger them, you either do all three or you choose one of the three. One of the things you can trigger what's in the center. You can trigger what's the black. That's what I think it is. Okay, you can trigger the white part, the center part, the lower part, or this part, which flips a card over. And then on the next page, it tells us how to trigger this, right? This is, sorry, it's not the next page, it's this page. Tells us how to trigger the lower part, the center part. So I think this is sort of continued on the next page. You can't put a pawn where there's already a pawn. All right, you can do this. The C means you can. The C with a line means you can't. So in the moon phase, perhaps, you can do this. I wonder if this is like the phase of the moon. Like first you do this, this, I don't know. Although that line might always mean can't. All right, so if you choose to put a pawn, you do that. If you choose to play a card, it looks like you either do all three, but more likely you do one of these four actions. One is you use this. The second thing you can do is what's here. The third thing you can do is bring it out into the grid. When you bring it out into the grid, you can put a color on a blank space, a color on top of a color, but you may not put a color on a different color. The fourth action you can do here is to use the maze action. What is the maze action? I don't think we figured this out. The reds are on the left. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. If it's a red card, it goes at the left of the row. If it's a blue card, it goes at the right of the row. That's why the blues are on the right and the reds are on the left. So as your fourth action, you can put it out on a row, either at the far left or the far right. Now, what's happening here, I don't know. But this thing here is just showing us that it's that row of cards. It's reminding us of how the layout works with the row of cards on the top and the black cards below it. I think that's what it's saying here. Put it in the left of the row or the right of the row. Okay. This might be talking about from the stack. Draw from the stack. Okay. And then, so you might expect that this and this are going to be talked about on this next page. Is that what's happening? I'm not sure. All right, but we know a good chunk of what this page and this page is. Okay, so here we see again this symbol. All right, so we've got, this is the page we understand the least of, I think. We do think this might mean the rest of, or the remainder of. This might see the remainder of these cards. Choose a red. It's not quite clear what's happening here. We're seeing this symbol a lot, and we don't really know what it means. It looks similar to the remainder symbol, if that's what this is, but not quite. And this is 12. Okay, we don't really know what this page is telling us. Now, what about this? This looks like it's talking about our board. Stick, V, grain, and alien face. So these are these. One, two, three. This feels like this might be saying the steps. This feels like it might be an overview of the whole game. Because this seems like it's a recap of placing pawns. Don't really know what this is about. I wonder if this is something like end game conditions. We were told that one end game position was 6 discs. I don't see 6 discs here, so I don't know. All right. And then it looked like this was some disc. I was thinking that this is saying when you remove everything from this card, it can go down here. I think it gets stacked up into this pile. I think that's maybe the goal. The goal may be to get rid of these cards. So if that was right, then this would be remove. Is that consistent with? Is this consistent with remove? Not sure. All right, but I think I understand the basics of this. And then what did we ever figure out this? I don't think we figured out this page at all. Yeah, I don't think we understand this page. Almost feels like it's not telling us anything we can do, but more giving us distributions. like 12 of these, but we know they're equal numbers, so that doesn't quite make sense. It's a weird thing to be showing us here, though. Okay, and then these pages, we start to feel like we understand a little bit more. This is telling us how to trigger the bottom rows, which have either this symbol, this symbol, this symbol, or this symbol. This feels like we are putting discs onto a card from this area. Same thing, this puts two symbols. Not 100% clear what's going on here, though. The city action lets you do something with one of these cards. Not clear what. And then here's the middle action of cards. And they tell you where to grab discs from in which area. This is a little engine builder. This action puts a token in a card spot. This action fires off all the tokens in an area, bringing them into here, which looks like this may be our resources. So this is our engine builder that lets us bring discs onto our different resources. So I think we have wood, vitality, grain, and slave alien workers. And this is our engine for getting them onto our resource. And I think that does seem to suggest that maybe we're starting out with some resources. Something. Okay, so we're building our engine on these cards, and then we're triggering it to generate resources, or we can play it just to instant get a cup 3 of a certain resource. This action lets us put a disc on a card in the grid, and then something happens maybe when we get enough of them. And this seems to be, I think this is like meld. Like, I think that you're building up this row of blue and red cards, and occasionally you get a blue facing a red in your row. And when you play this action, you meld them somehow. And maybe, well, what happens when you meld them? I don't know. But you can see here they are meldable. I don't know if there needs to be some rule showing us when we can meld them. But what happens when you meld them? And then this I don't quite understand. Is there some discussion elsewhere about how you meld these cards? This tells you how to add them to the row, but not what happens when you meld them. This is the second place where it showed these cards, and then this one shifted up a bit. Like, look at this row. I think these black cards can make their way into this row somehow. I think that's what it's showing here, but I don't know how. How are those cards getting into this row? All right. Marco says he thinks the left bar are the maxes. I don't really know how to make sense of the last bar, about the black bar. All right, so we're going to stop here after 2 hours. This was session 1. If you're interested in discussing this on the Discord, you can find the Discord for the Co-op for Two channel somewhere on this YouTube page, or you could jump into the Board Game Geek Guild for Co-op for Two. But we'll play again and resume our discussion. Maybe we'll take some notes. Maybe everyone can give some thought to this. We'll try to work out, make a list of our symbol alphabet and what aspects of the game we don't understand. I feel like we made quite good progress. Somewhere here, another meta way to look at it is somewhere here has to be talking about winning and losing conditions. Like we're seeing how to set up. We're seeing how to move cards into this grid and how to move them onto this card set. And here we're seeing how to use the engine building system. So I think that does mean that this set of pages is going to be win-lose conditions. So I think this is telling us how to put these black cards down here. And I think that means that this page or both are win-lose conditions. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the winning condition, that's what we're looking at here. It is interesting that if it's top to bottom, it's weird that we have 3, 2, 1 going in the wrong direction. All right, before we sign off, because this is an interesting little process of elimination, do you have any gut feeling about winning and losing? It may be that there's no, let's put it differently. Somewhere here we have to have win, loss, score. It may be that there's no way to lose or win, and it's just a matter of what's your score. But somewhere we either have to have some combination of win, loss, and score. And we had one more clue from the description here, which was about how the game ended. Okay, when I watched the game, it concluded abruptly and was scored when the 6th disc was claimed. So it may just be that we have a game end condition and you calculate your score. Now, somewhere here is score calculation, because I think we understood enough about the rest unless this is related to scoring, that these aren't score. So then the question is, it's possible that this is a score? Like these are worth 2, this is worth 1, these are worth 3, something like that. This could be the scoring. Seems a little odd. Might be negative score, but I still don't understand these circles. Okay, so where is score? Now, I'll tell you what I think, though. Look, there's a lot of stuff here we haven't made sense of. And I wonder if some of these aren't going to be scoring conditions. We have not made sense of the cards all that much. Some of these areas of the cards we don't really understand. But I think these might be actions, like you can do this or this. Like, look, this is going to be like place a resource, place 1 resource on wood or on the vitality, something like that. So I think these cards may be actions that can get triggered or built. We'll have to do that next time, but it's still not score. I wonder if this isn't score. I wonder if this isn't going to say something like, you lose points for this, you lose points for this, you gain points for this. Like, is this scoring information? Is this saying we get 1 point for these, 2 points for these, 3 points for these? Or are these points? Like we're doing stuff in this grid. When we empty it out, it goes into here. Is that how we're scoring? Is this the scoring? Do you get 4 points for every card that's here, 2 points for every card that's here, 1 point for every card that's here? This is a weird area here. This seems to be just being like a dump of symbols. Okay, for real. Let's sign off. Very interesting. I am curious to see what folks come up with on the Discord or between videos. I think there may be people out here who have been working on this on their own. Now that we've had a chance to work on it for a couple hours, maybe we can welcome in the observations of others. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.